We are determined to stop a situation in which video games with pornographic and violent content are being peddled to our children.
We are training our kids to be killers, and we are training our sons to treat women like whores.
Devin Moore, having bought Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City, played it obsessively 10, 12, sometimes 16 hours a day. We are suing Take-Two, Sony, Walmart, and GameStop for having trained Devin Moore to kill. The idea is to blow away as many people as you can in as short a period of time with as many different weapons as possible.
To drive over pedestrians, to kill police officers, even to engage in cannibalism.
Trained, by the way, on Counter-Strike Half-Life. This is a murder simulator.
It's more than just a game. We're not, Miss Pac-Man and Space Invaders anymore.
It seems that every time mankind faces a problem, we quickly and instinctively try to pass it off as someone else's fault. Whether it's music, movies, internet, video games, or any other form of media, it is usually the first to blame for society's issues. Most commonly today, video games. The Columbine shooting massacre, Virginia Tech, bombing in Moscow. It seems that people are finding it easier and easier to blame video games, but I believe that there's much more to video games than what they're given credit for.
Said it once, but I'll say it again. It's not like you listen, but it will still fall on deaf ears.
Every day, thousands of people are in the presence of each other. On the bus, in the streets, the mall, school, and so on. But if you listen past the sounds of vehicles roaring and people walking, what do you hear? Silence.
Well, I think it has a very positive effect. For example, when I'm playing Call of Duty or Gears of War online, none of my friends will be online, but I'll have the headset in, and when you get into different games and stuff, you'll meet new people, and first you talk about strategy, and then strategy leads to the basketball game or the football game, and you get to know them, you find out they're nice guys, and you have the feature where you can add them to your friends list, and I think it just helps build relationships.
In the Halo 3 days, I didn't have very many friends, and it helped me connect with a lot of people and realize that we had a lot of things in common. And if I didn't play Xbox, I probably wouldn't have my best friend Aaron McMurtry, because that's how we started talking at first, and a lot of my other friends too.
It's easy to interact with them because not only do we race together during the evening, but we also talk after the race. So although our race lasts for an hour and a half, at the end, it's just like real racing where afterward you bench race. So you actually talk to the other guys and apologize for any mistakes you might have made that affected them or whatever.
Thanks for trying though, Roy.
The thing that I like most about gaming is just when you go online, there's a community of people that have the same interests and talents as you, and you can just relate to them. And when you step out of that, there's all these negative comments that are said about you, but online, there's none of that.
We're going to get it kicked off with the winners bracket finals, best of 5.
Not only does online social interactions lead to finding people with the same interests as you and building close friendships, but also creates career opportunities.
I used to play competitively in Major League Gaming to be the best. Used to go to tournaments, compete against thousands of players to win money, win prizes, to be sponsored, to meet people, have a lot of fun. They encourage people to come even if they're not going to play, and they come, they encourage you no matter how good or bad you are. They just want people there to interact.
Well, being an avid gamer and owning Xbox Connect, PS3 Move, Wii, I'd say it changed the gaming industry really, because before then, gaming was basically just using the joysticks to move your character, and now you look at it on the TV ads and everything. It's your actual movements dictate what they do on screen. So these days people don't even have to go outside anymore, right? You see on Xbox and PS3, oh, PS3 Move or Connect. You don't even have to go outside. You can just stay inside and play, right?
I feel it can be very beneficial because the gym, like for exercise, isn't for everybody. A lot of people, they need the incentive to have fun in order to get fit, and I think this is a great way to do it. Like lots of cardio. Yeah, it's actually very good. It's quite a workout.
Right now.
Yeah.
Let's say we're going to play Your Shape on the Kinect. It would take dedication to play that regularly on a daily basis to really, I think, affect it. It's not going to really compare to going out and jogging, of course. There's a place for it, I guess, if people can take it seriously. Sure.
It's good for like younger gamers and older gamers because I think even for me now, I have a younger brother who's he's 7. And if I were to try to play like Gears of War or a shooting game where you have to use the analog sticks, I think it'd be harder for him. But now with the Kinect, we can be on the same screen, playing like the dancing game or, the sporting game, and he can, the game will interact his movements, and it'll be easier for both of us to play.
Your physical actions, your body, your movement, in combination with your voice, give commands to the TV for it to play the game instead of sitting idle and just using your hand-eye coordination. So I can see how I appreciate that some companies are starting to recognize that there is this kind of inactivity that has become very common amongst youth, and to develop games where you can be more active, or these Wii Fit where the whole sole purpose is to exercise, I think is really wonderful.
It was recently published by a researcher at Carnegie Mellon University. The average young person today in a country with a strong gamer culture will have spent 10,000 hours playing online games by the age of 21. Now, 10,000 hours is a really interesting number for 2 reasons. First of all, for children in the United States, 10,080 hours is the exact amount of time you will spend in school from 5th grade to high school graduation if you have perfect attendance. So we have an entire parallel track of education going on where young people are learning as much about what it takes to be a good gamer as they're learning about everything else in school.
With all these hours put into school and video games, what are gamers learning to be good at? There are 500 million gamers, and there are expected to be another 1 billion gamers in the next decade, bringing us to 1.5 billion gamers. But what skills are these gamers learning?
There's a huge variety of skills to learn from playing video games. Like, ever since I was a little kid, from something as simple as playing The Legend of Zelda and moving statues from place to place to keep them on switches to open the doors, easy problem-solving skills. And then there's math that is involved with everything, spending money in RPGs. You gotta make sure you keep that money to keep it going, because if you run out of that money or can't buy any more resources or potions, you're kind of done. You got to start a new game. That kind of stuff sticks with you. It really helps out.
Problem solving for sure. People who play video games definitely tend to look at situations differently. They tend to look outside the box. If a person versus a person who doesn't play video games were to approach a situation, I guarantee a person who plays video games would have an edge on them because they'd be used to it.
When I was younger, all the way up to grade 4, I didn't know how to read properly, and I had dyslexia, and some of my best friends would know that, and when I'd game, they'd be talking about the dialogue that they'd experience in video games, and I'd just start reading, and that's what helped me. I'd know what an antidote is. It's a remedy for healing from playing Pokemon, and I just a tunic from Legend of Zelda, and nowadays I can just read because I'd play more advanced games, more mature games, and they have longer words.
The other day I was sitting in math class, and math is normally really easy for me, no problem. I get 80s, 90s, but I started talking about this one topic, and I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I just made sure that I had to beat it. I just thought of it exactly like a boss battle from a video game, and I I just kept telling myself I cannot lose against this boss. I have to beat it. And as soon as it clicked, I knew. I just relaxed, felt like I had finished the boss, and that was the end of the level.
Nintendo games, they seem easy, but they're actually really hard. Okay, the game's actually made very short, but they made it so hard that it seems like it takes forever. Like you can spend days, hours, whatever, try to remember the patterns to the game. Eventually we were little kids, but we were able to beat certain levels of certain games in those ones. But as adults, we can't beat them sometimes. We lose those reflexes. So it built a lot of reflexes and I think knowledge and like quick thinking that we didn't know. But you know, as a kid, to you it's a game, but you're actually learning all this stuff.
A recent study on whether video game skills translate into better surgical skills was done by researchers at Lower State University. They found that doctors who spent at least 3 hours a week playing video games made about 37 fewer mistakes and performed tasks 27% faster than their counterparts who do not.
Your reaction time or hand-eye coordination, again, I can see that being, I guess, a skill that can be more developed by consistently playing video games.
The parents don't want their kids to play these violent games. They still allow it. You know, they sort of wash their hands of the whole thing, saying that, well, they play with their friends are playing it.
It's the same old song and dance, you know, rock and roll and everything that you want to pick from throughout the years. It's the parents' job. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This game is rough and it's tough, and it's not meant for 13-year-old kids.
Tell that to the families of the dead people.
I look at it as just something I like to do in my spare time. I never look at it as a violent thing that's gonna make me go massacre school or something like that. Some people like reading in their spare time. Some people like playing video games. I don't think video games should be persecuted. I mean, a violent book could just as easily be persecuted just as well as a video game.
Parents have the responsibility. Plain and simple, it's the parents who have the responsibility. To blame it on the industry, I don't think that's right. You know, it's all about how we bring up our kids.